Hey guys, how you doing? Right, okay, so I've just finished The Last of Us on PlayStation 3 and I wanted to give you my thoughts. I had a couple of people ask me if I was going to do a video, so I thought I would do. I literally finished it about 5 minutes ago and yeah, it's an interesting game, let's put it that way. It's an interesting experience for me. I'll start with basically the story. Story's your pretty standard zombie story. There's an infection that plagues the world. It's transmitted by being bitten. You know, there is no known cure, and it's like a post-apocalyptic fight for survival. So it's nothing really original. But what they did do, they did a really good job of. I thought the scripting was excellent. The acting, as always, being Naughty Dog, they always do absolutely fantastic capture and have really good quality actors playing the roles, and they always seem to create really good, strong characters as well all around. They don't seem to have any like satellite characters that annoy you or that are just throwaway. They all seem to have a purpose and they're all extremely well done. I thought the story overall was good but not great. I enjoyed it, it was engaging, but I felt like it lost its way. If you've played the game, you'll understand what I mean, hopefully. I felt that the first opening probably 10 or 15 minutes of the game, I'm not too sure how long it went on for, I can't remember exactly, but the opening sequence of the game is absolutely fantastic, and I just sat there and my jaw on the floor was like, wow. I was like, my God, I was just so emotionally invested, and I was in absolute shock at the end of the sequence as to what happened. I'm going to try and not have too many spoilers in this video if I can, but it might be difficult. But if you've played the game and you know what I'm on about, that sequence was really heart-wrenching. I mean, it was so well done, so well acted. It really just, the emotion is just unreal. It really just grabbed you and it's like, oh, whoa. And I thought this is a really good start. This game is going to be absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I would probably say after that opening sequence, the game becomes pretty generic. It didn't really, unlike Uncharted, it didn't have a nice beat to it. It didn't just flow and just keep me really attached to the characters. I found myself getting a little bit pissed off with Ellie at times because there was times where it was getting a little grating to keep hearing her say the same reaction every time I shot someone in the face or I threw a petrol bomb at somebody and she'd freak out because it was an over-the-top reaction to the situation. And the first time you hear it, it makes perfect sense that she would be that way and she would react that way. But the further into the story, and when she's killed people herself, and you know they've gone through a hell of a lot of stuff, it seems a little ridiculous that she would overreact the way she does. And it did kind of grate on me after a while. I got a bit fed up of hearing it, and I was just like, yeah, well, give it a break, will you? Apart from that, I thought the story, as I say, was decent. They did a good job of it. It was solid all the way through. And I'd say that probably the last section of the game really picked up again and really drew me back in. And the last particular, right at the very end of the game, once you reach the hospital, that part in particular, from the hospital onwards to the end sequence, was really good. It really got you thinking and really, you know, had you in the moment. And I'm sure I heard that Naughty Dog have said they're not going to make a sequel. It's a standalone game. I honestly don't understand how they can do that, because after watching the end of that game, there is no way they can have a sequel. I mean, it's a cliffhanger ending. It leaves so many open ends, so many questions. There is just no possibility that you could leave it like that. And I really do hope that, you know, if the fans want it, they do make a sequel, because I would love to extend the story some more and find out more. Because Joel is a complex character. After what happens at the beginning of the game, he becomes a stone cold killer. He just don't care. He's got nothing to live for really. And even with Ellie, he doesn't completely bond with her. You do obviously get the sense as the story goes on that she's becoming like his surrogate daughter, and he's kind of coming round to being around her and he's caring for her. And obviously in the final act, it shows that he has got a heart and he does want to protect her. But I still felt that there was still a bit of distance between them, and there's a long way to go before he's really going to become, I suppose, become human again, because he's a lost person. He's just cold inside. He doesn't care. he's at his wit's end, and it's a really dark character when you look at it, and it's really well portrayed. Yeah, and I thought that the actress that did Ellie did a really good job. That was pretty decent. But yeah, overall I thought the story was excellent. It wasn't the most amazing story I've ever seen in a game or film. It was just really well done for what it was, as Naughty Dog always do, and you always get quality with Naughty Dog. The biggest problem for me with the whole thing was gameplay, and this is a thing that I always have in modern games. There are only a handful of current gen games really that I've played where I haven't got completely and utterly pissed off with them, and they're a very small amount of games. This one, it was just suffering from the same old things that wind me up, and the same old, let's make it as difficult as possible. Even though you're only playing it on normal, you're not playing on the harder difficulty settings, we're going to ramp the difficulty up and we're going to piss you off beyond belief until you scream and throw the joypad. And I hate that so much. It winds me up proper. And it seems to be a big thing this generation. It seems like because they're trying to create this interactive experience and they concentrate so much on the story and the acting and the motion capture and all of the good stuff, that the gameplay is kind of, sidelined a little bit in a lot of games. And I feel as though they don't understand anymore. I've seen it loads of times this generation since I've been on YouTube, that I don't feel they think that games need to be fun anymore. They always say, oh, they need to be challenging. Well, they're not challenging, it's difficult. There's a distinct line between difficult for the sake of being difficult and challenging. Challenging is playing like an NES game where you only fail for your own mistakes, and you learn and you go back and you do it again until you get it right, and you feel satisfied when you've completed it. With this, it gets to the point, like most modern games, where I'm just like, I'm going to be so glad when this finally gets done and I can move on to the next section, because it's royally pissing me off. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that a couple of days ago I had a major game rage moment. I just flipped. I just lost the plot. I was just so pissed off. And there's a section in the game, if you've played it, there's a bit with a generator in a very dark room where you're falling down a lift shaft and you've got to get back up the top of the building to meet Ellie. And you have to pull this generator to activate a door which has a key card. So you have to find the key card first, then you have to go down into the basement, pull the generator, turn the generator on, get up to the door and use the safely. But unfortunately, when you turn the generator on, because they've got these infected called clickers, where they're pretty much fully deformed and they've got no face, so they can only use their ears. So you can sneak by them most of the time, but if you make a loud noise, they just run at you and just devour you, and they're a pain in the arse to kill if they do that. You have to be really careful, and you can grab them and shiv them, or you can beat them with a metal pipe. That's quite handy. But on this particular section, they just come out of nowhere, and if you don't get out of that room quick and up there's like a concrete slope where the roof's falling down. If you run up there, you're okay, but you still get swarmed. I mean, there's just like clickers, there's like normal infected who just like, they're only just been infected, so they're on the way, so they're still human-like. And then you have these ones called, I think they were called bloaters, which is like this big, massive, like clicker, like bigger than a normal clicker, but he's like humongous, and he spits these yellow spore things at you, like, and he just throws them across the room and they explode and make it difficult to see. And they just steam at you, and when they grab hold of you, they grab your jaw like that and they go and rip you apart. And I must have done that about 20 times. I had my face ripped open because I just could not do it. And I got so angry and I just flipped. And I just went on Twitter and was like, I can't repeat what I said on this video, but if you look at my Twitter feed, you'll see what I said, and I was not happy, Bonnie. It really pissed me off. Eventually, I managed to do it not long after sending that tweet out, after a couple more tries, probably 3, 4, 5 times. Eventually, I just got sick of it, and I just got a load of petrol bombs and petrol bombed the shit out of the bloater, and that seemed to work quite well. A couple of shotgun shells as well, but I got put him down and I survived, and I was like, when I got through that door and I got to the other side, I was like, oh, thank God for that. It was so frustrating. Other things, the little things, like silly little things that I seem to get on all of modern gaming now, is things like the character reloading at the most inopportune moment where you're about to get mauled and you can't, and you go, reload the gun, come on, reload it, and then you die. Even on this game, you can craft and you can upgrade weapons, so you can have faster reloads, less recoil, all those kind of things. But I found even with a fast reload, like the pistol I put on maximum reload, and he still took ages, and it was just like, oh, come on. And then when you choke enemies as well, you'll sneak up behind them, grab them, and you can choke them or use a shiv and stab them in the neck. If you choke them, it takes ages. I mean, it's probably like 30 seconds or something, but when you're in the middle of a battle and you've got 4 or 5 enemies around you, maybe 2 clickers and 3 infected, and you're trying to take one of the infected down and the other 4 are all standing around, you don't want to be standing there pissing about in an animation, choking someone out. You want to put them on the floor, move on to the next one and keep moving and survive. That was kind of frustrating. Little things as well, like you always get in these games where scenery gets in the way and it kind of pulls you right out of the moment and makes you realise it's a video game. You know, I had it at the end of the game. I was walking through the hospital and I got stuck behind a sofa and I couldn't get past it, and it was just like, it's just so dumb, and stuff like that shouldn't happen. And a big gripe of mine, which I absolutely detest on modern gaming, which I don't know if it's a narrative reason or what, or, you know, there must be a purpose in it. I'm assuming it's for narrative so that the characters can communicate, but I find it so frustrating when games slow you down deliberately so you cannot run. All you can do is walk at this inane, small, slow pace, and you're just crawling, and you've got a long distance to traverse, but you're walking damn slow, and you're like, come on, just let me move. I can listen to what the other character's telling me, I can still run. It's just little petty little things that I just need ironing out, and I hope they do that next gen, because it is kind of frustrating. But besides that, the actual general gunplay and the cover, well, it's not even cover, they automatically take cover when you go near a wall. It's really good, and I think if I do another playthrough, I'll get better at it, and I'll perfect, like, I perfect the moving around the areas, because you can move room to room and stealthily come up behind people. I'm absolutely terrible at stealth. I hate stealth gameplay. So this game is really going to piss me off, because there's a hell of a lot of stealth. I mean, there's tons of it, and it proper winds me up. I'm absolutely useless at it. And sometimes I found that most of the time the AI is absolutely spot on with this game, and they'll flank you and they'll get you good. Other times they're dumb as a bag of rocks. They'll just stand there, and you'll be behind like a wall there, and they'll be standing here, and they'll just be going, and they won't even see you, and you just walk out in front of them and smack them in the face, which I thought was ridiculous. But, you know, these little things, you always get this with games, it's just the way they are. Apart from that, I'd say graphically the game is absolutely beautiful. I mean, you honestly could mistake it for a next-gen title, like a crossover title at this point. It's stunning, the environments are absolutely beautiful, the character design's spot on, everything's immaculate. It's a really, really nice looking game, and it's got a lovely score as well. I did have a couple of bugs where the sound went out for some reason. When I was opening doors and using generators, the sound would disappear, which is a bit odd. But it's not surprising, because there's bugs all the time now in games, so it's nothing new. Yeah, I honestly thought it was a good game. I just didn't think, for me personally, it wasn't as good as Uncharted 2. In terms of the story, in terms of the gameplay actually as well. Uncharted 2 has its moments, especially at the end, which pissed me off, but not as much as this one did. I just thought it was a good game. I didn't think it was a great game. I didn't think it was a shite game. Is it overrated? Maybe a little bit, I would say so, yes. I do think that the press have really, really, really overhyped it. Because the story's not original, the gameplay's not original, but it just does a lot of unoriginal things extremely well, and keeps you motivated and captivated, and it interests you to carry on and to continue and finish the story. I just feel that the first opening sequence was so damn good that they had the bar far too high, and they just didn't quite achieve it for the rest of the game. And it's a real shame, because it could have been an absolute masterpiece. Instead, I would say it's just a really good, high quality PlayStation 3 exclusive from Naughty Dog. You know, a bad Naughty Dog game is not a bad game, really, if you think about it, because Naughty Dog have a high level of quality anyway. So compared to a lot of the games that have been out this generation, they're absolutely appalling. You know, it's really high quality, but when you compare it, for me personally anyway, if you compare it to games such as Uncharted 2 and Heavy Rain, it's not up there for me, not in terms of the storytelling, and anyway, at least. But I did like the characters, I'll be honest. As I say, Naughty Dog are very good at creating likeable characters. I don't find any of the characters grate on me or frustrate me in any way. And I thought Ellie and Joel were brilliant. And I especially like the fact that part way through the game, you get to switch and you get to play as Ellie. I really enjoyed that section. I'd probably say it's probably my favourite part of the game, was playing as Ellie. It was really good going through the snow and doing a bit of Tomb Raider with trying to kill a deer. And they won't spoil the story, but what happens with Ellie is excellent. I thought that was really well done, that was. It was a lot of fun. There was one moment I didn't like, just because it just felt to me like Uncharted 2 and the Lazarevic fight, which is without doubt one of the worst things I've done this generation. I hated that fight so much. And it was the bit where, I think his name was David, where you have to attack David in stealth mode in a bar. Oh my god. Because the AI wasn't particularly brilliant on David as well, and he'd just sit around and do nothing and then just spin around in a circle. I just thought, what's going on? And you just sort of basically, because you've only got a knife and he's got a gun, you've got to keep crouched down, you've got to try and get behind him. And yeah, it's not brilliant. The one thing I did like though was the fact that I didn't have to repeat it when I died. So unlike Lazarevic, where if you die on Uncharted 2's Lazarevic fight, you have to go back and start from scratch. And I think, if I remember right, you have to kill him 3 times. I think that's how many times you have to do it. On this one, at least I found anyway, I did him twice, I stabbed him twice, died, came back, stabbed him a 3rd time, and it let me continue on to the next sequence. So I was like, that's, thank God for that, that's a good thing. I don't have to keep repeating it, especially as somebody who can't play stealth. I find stealth impossible. I get extremely frustrated with it. But yeah, I mean, what I'd say is, would I recommend this to someone to buy it? Absolutely. If you want a really good quality PlayStation 3 game to play that's an exclusive, then definitely go and try it. Just don't expect too much from it. Don't listen to all the hype. Just go in, open-minded and see what you think. And I would say that most people are going to enjoy the game. It's definitely a fun game to play, and it's got a nice pacing to it, so you don't get bored all the way through. And some of the gun battles in particular are absolutely fantastic. They're a lot of fun, and especially when you really get to grips with the controls and the method of moving room to room and using melee weapons such as glass bottles and bricks. That's really cool. I would say the violence is a bit over the top. It's a bit grim. It's not over the top like Sly Stallone over the top, but over the top in terms of viscerality. It's a bit much. Some of the ways that Joel kills people, it makes you recoil. I mean, literally, there were a few times in the story where I jumped or I looked away. I couldn't watch because there were, in particular, if you've played the game, the sequence with Henry and Sam, that I had to turn away. It was just so intense. The acting was that good, and I was just like, oh my god! And I was like, no! I was like, literally, like, no, don't do it! And it was like, whoa! It was just a horrible moment. And I had, as I say, a couple of gameplay moments with the violence. I had a moment where I was in this house with Sam, Henry, and Ellie, and the house gets raided by bandits, and you've got to fight your way out of the house. And I got a sawn-off shotgun, and I killed a few other people, and there's one guy left at the bottom of the stairs, and I didn't know he was there, and I got to the bottom of the stairs, and he come running up the stairs out of nowhere, scared the shit out of me. I jumped like that, fired my shotgun, and it was so brutal. I've never seen anything like it in a game before. It was vicious, because he was like there, and Joel's there, sawn-off shotgun to the chest. He went flying off the stairs, down to the door, hit the floor, and there's just blood everywhere. And the impact and the sound of the gun and all, because the sound effects are excellent in this game, it was absolutely vicious. I was like, whoa! I literally just stopped for a minute and I just put the controller down. I was like, holy shit! It's really intense. There's some proper intense moments in this game where it's life or death, and your health's right down. You're running low on ammunition. There are men everywhere, and you're trying to find the best way around the situation, and your heart's going, and it's just like, whoa! And that was, for me, was excellent. I wish there was more of that in the game because I really enjoyed it. In the hospital at the end, I got into a situation where I had literally about 6 bullets in my pistol. There were like 4 guys, and I had to find my way round, and I had to try and go around the right hand side and flank them and take pot shots and just make every shot count. And it was some intense gameplay, man. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend giving it a try if you've never played it. Don't listen to any of the hype, just play it and see what you think. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good game. Not the greatest game in the world, but definitely one to play and a lot of fun. And not without its flaws, of course, because all games have flaws. So there you go, guys. That's my general thoughts on The Last of Us. Please let me know down below, or with a video response if you would like to. I'm assuming video responses are still available at the moment, because I know there's Google are taking them away, which is ridiculous, but there you go. But yes, please do leave a comment, post a video response, let me know what you thought of The Last of Us. I'd really be intrigued to know, because I've talked to a couple of people on Twitter, and there's a bit of a varied opinion out there as to what people think about this game. So I'll be interested. They definitely should make a sequel though. I can't understand why they wouldn't. It's a damn shame if they don't. And I know I believe they said they're not going to. It's a real tragedy if they don't. They should. But yeah, The Last of Us, another great entry to the PlayStation 3 exclusive lineup. Just not the best one in my opinion. So anyway guys, tomorrow is the big day. Grand Theft Auto 5. I cannot wait. I've got it in the post at the moment. Amazon posted it on Saturday. It's now Monday, so hopefully it'll be here tomorrow. And I'm going to get stuck in. I'm going to enjoy that. I've got a day off, so can't wait to play that. And I've got Wednesday off as well, so I'll be having some fun. Yeah, excellent. And if you have a PlayStation 3 and you are buying Grand Theft Auto 5, and when the multiplayer starts, I believe it's in 2 weeks' time, if you want to join a crew and you haven't already, Lukey Wookie, or as he's now known, the PS4 fanboy, he has put a crew together. I'm part of his crew. So if you want to join Luke's crew, please go over to the PS4 fanboy. I'll put a link down below, and he'll send you the directions. He'll give you a link to the Rockstar website where the crew is, so you can join up. And the more people we get, the better, because I think the online on GTA is going to be really good this year. I'm excited to try it out. For first time ever, I'm actually excited about a multiplayer on a game, so it's going to be cool. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all again soon.